Hello and welcome to today's episode. I am Nimisha Chopra. The subject expert for today's program is Suman Bajaj Kalra. She has been a media professional for 3 decades, primarily working in television and occasionally in radio and print media. In today's episode, we are going to talk about writing for television. Television programming is broadly divided into fiction and non-fiction or reality programming. In this episode, we are going to learn the art and craft of writing for the most popular non-fiction programming on television, namely news, interviews, documentary films, and short talks. Television is one of the largest and fastest growing media industry in the world. It has emerged as the most preferred entertainment and information media for the cross-section of the society and age groups. It is a friend or a companion who sits in the intimacy of the drawing room or bedroom, ready to entertain 24/7 at the press of a button. No wonder then that it requires a huge amount of programming to fill 24-hour channels day after day in an innovative manner that attracts, informs, educates, and entertains its viewers. It is an industry of ideas, concepts, and formats. It is very aptly called an industry that never sleeps. Television has a huge appetite for programs and hence scripts and script writers. Typically, television programs are often divided into those that are scripted and those that are non-scripted. But the fact is that most of the programs are scripted either fully or partially. There are various genres of programs requiring varying degrees of scripting, even those that appear to be very spontaneously ad-libbed. Roughly speaking, the genres are fiction, that is drama, telefilm, serials, sitcom, animation films, etc. Non-fiction, that is reality programming. News and current affairs, features, talk shows, interviews, discussions, health programs, special audience programs for children and women, games and quizzes, documentary films, travelogues, sports programs, music, dance programs, etc. Each of these themes is further divided into different formats for different target audience. It is a misconception that reality programming is unscripted while fiction is scripted. The truth is that almost all genres require scripting. Writing may be required for an entire program or a part of it, an anchor, an interviewer, or a documentary film. Writing is crucial for all medias, whether audio-visual like television, films and new media, or word-centric like radio and print, because it helps to formulate ideas more effectively and in sharp focus. Every program is designed to say something. Writing helps to structure that central theme of the program into a logical beginning, middle, and end. Writing helps to contain the content of the program in the given duration, effectively making the program crisp and entertaining. A scripted program steers clear of glaring mistakes, awkward silences, or deviation from the main theme of the subject. The script is a blueprint of the program on paper, which the entire team of production has access to. It helps in creating good teamwork and a unified approach to a production without wasting time. A scriptwriter dwells on the subject, researches it, and then writes the script. This ensures a high standard of the program for which the script is written. Television is a very expensive and important media employing a large number of people. It cannot afford to falter and grope for the right words. It is important to see the program on paper before it goes into production. Television industry thrives on writers who can bring in new ideas and treatment to the small screen to keep the audience riveted to their television sets. This requires a craft and the talent for writing for television. More so, since it is a media where programs are in series rather than single episodes. The writer is a key person in this process because writing is where new ideas and concepts take birth. Elaborating the power and impact of writing, Top Stoppard, one of the most celebrated authors from Britain for radio, television, film and print, said, "Words are sacred. They deserve respect. If you get the right ones in the right order, you can nudge the world a little." Television, by virtue of being our household companion, makes this statement more significant. To understand the role of the writer in television industry, we must first understand the characteristics of modern television. Television has grown in size, style and rhythm over the years to become a media which invites and adapts to audience feedback, is largely dependent on advertising revenue in addition to the subscription fees, and is on air 24 hours of the day. These characteristics, coupled with fierce competition, impact the way programs are produced. It is no longer the kind of television we saw 2 decades ago. The biggest challenge for television to create and to sustain is wide viewership base and keep building on it constantly. Only then can the advertising revenue pour in. This is where writers step in and give an edge to a channel. The characteristics of TV are: it is an audio-visual media where visual plays a very important role. In fact, at times, it is far more important compared to the spoken words. The significance of visual element must fully be understood and explored. It helps to impart information, mood setting, enrichment, and credibility to television programming. Seeing is far more interesting and convincing than hearing. It is easy on the eye as it provides variety. Writing for television must allow visuals to speak and speak effectively. Television has its own language and idiom which is unlike that of films or radio. It believes as much as in telling words as it believes in showing visuals. Judicious use of both these ensures that the channel appears to the widest audience. Unlike films, television is a combination of different genres of programs offered on one platform targeted at general and specific target audience. A channel may be offering programs for children, women, or on subjects like investigative reporting, a drama, or a comedy show during its 24-hour cycle in order to serve all kinds of audience. In such cases, it becomes difficult to define one specific character of the channel. Typical example is the national channel of Doordarshan, which offers a wide variety of programming. Since television is watched by a cross-section of society in a family setup, it must use language which is simple and easily understood by all. Failing to do so defeats the very purpose of the program. It also follows that the content of television programming should be such that can be watched by the family together. It must not hurt the sensibility of any section of society. In many ways, television is instant communication aimed at immediate and effortless consumption. It must establish instant identification with the viewers. In other words, it is direct, clear, prompt and simple communication, leaving no scope for ambiguity or complex interpretation. There is a certain degree of speed and immediacy in the television media in as much as it deals with news and current topics. These must be presented immediately as the events take place. Television is constantly racing to be ahead and better than its competitors. It also leads to the need for speedy production around the clock. Television viewing is interrupted by advertisements, which are the mainstay of the industry. The programs are broken into small segments with advertising capsules inserted at intervals. In order to continue to grab the attention of the viewers, programming is done with generous peppering of built-in hooks, teasers, and cliffhangers to ensure that the viewers do not drift away to other channels. In other words, every segment of programs ends with something intriguing, a dialogue or a visual that creates enough curiosity and interest in the viewer to stay on and watch the other end of the break. Television writing is very different from writing for print, radio, new media or cinema. While the first two are totally word-centric, the latter two are more dependent on visual language, well crafted with time and care. Television has a different rhythm. Every writer does not necessarily have the makings of a good television writer. All of the above factors lead to a very well-defined and demanding role of the television writer, who is virtually the backbone of any program or a television channel. It is the writer who brings fresh ideas and concepts to the programs using appropriate language to present them in the most interesting manner. There is writer behind every program and person who speaks on television, barring interviewee, who puts forth his own ideas and thoughts. The style, degree and content of writing depends on the nature of the program and its genre. What remains constant is the need for extensive research and the willingness to rewrite to improve the script. A successful television writer must have the following qualities: art of writing for audio-visual media, skill of using visual as a language tool. The writer must be able to weave in appropriate visual inputs into the script and make it truly and richly audiovisual. This requires training. The writer must be constantly aware of the power of the motion and energy of the visuals and explore their potential to the fullest. Ability to understand the target audience and address them effectively in a form and language best understood by them. This requires an ability to anticipate viewers' demands and taste. Ability and willingness to do extensive research and rewrite, the two pillars of writing. Quick in coming up with program ideas, formats and treatments. The writer should be watching a lot of television to develop and hone this craft. Excellent language skills. This is not a test for writing flowery language. Good language skills mean facility with language and its appropriate use suitable to the character and the program. Being able to withstand pressures and deliver on time, keeping to the cruel deadlines that television industry follows. A vast field of awareness and information on a variety of subjects culled from reading a large number of periodicals and newspapers on a regular basis. Keen eye for details and ability to do research. This also requires the art of networking with fellow professionals and important organizations and people. The writing style has to suit the genre of the program one is writing for. Television channels feature a vast variety of programming. For each of them, the requirement of writing is different. Let's look at some of the more popular ones among us the non-fiction variety, namely news, documentaries, interviews and short talks. News is factual, hence should be accurate. Finding facts, presenting them in a simple and precise language is the essence of news writing. Good news writing has the following qualities. The news copy must not ever repeat what is being shown in the visual. Visuals tell far more than the words do. The copy should add that crucial information which is not evident in the visual. As such, the news should be as visual as possible. Writing should be simple, short, precise and to the point. Long, winding and complex sentences and difficult words are to be avoided at all costs. The language should be such that is understood by a cross-section of society. Clarity of expression is of utmost importance for the news to be understood by all. Hard news of the day leads the news bulletin. This establishes the significance of the news. It is of utmost importance that information is verified from credible sources before writing the news copy. Leader sentence, the sentence which contains the core of the news, must come first. This is called inverted pyramid. In other words, the most important comes first and the copy follows a pattern of declining importance as it proceeds. This style of writing ensures that the viewer gets the essential information even if he or she does not pay attention to the detailing. Brevity in news writing lends crispness, directness and accuracy in communication. News copy is supposed to give the bare minimum important information and not detailed background or analysis. These are left to features on current affairs. Each sentence must contain only one main idea so that it is easily understood and absorbed by the viewer. News is always written in active voice and not in passive voice. For example, Chief Guest inaugurated the exhibition. Instead of, exhibition was inaugurated by the Chief Guest. News is almost entirely scripted. There are exceptions like breaking news which comes in during the news telecast and is important enough to be instantly shared with the viewers. In such cases, a raw copy containing the bare information is given to the news reader who in turn instantly gives it in a shape of a news item and reads it out. The film language evolved over the years to form its own grammar and syntax. Much of this grammar pertains to the visual content rather than the oral. A visual conveys instantly and evokes emotional reactions. The words may or may not be needed to elaborate a visual. As internationally celebrated master film director from France Robert Bresson said, "If the visual speaks volumes, why burden it with the weight of words and kill it?" The much advocated tenet of classicists is, "Visuals that speak and sound that evoke images is the essence of film language." Documentary films, being factual by nature, need to take cognizance of these principles of film language in order to make powerful films. Writing for documentaries is done in 3 stages. The first stage consists of extensive research on the subject, location, related topics and people, and writing a script which covers the complete content and scope of the film. The second stage introduces the visual language of the script. At this stage, the structure of the film evolves based on the visual language of the film. This script actually apportions the first script into visual element versus word element. The visual element consists of setting, location, people, lighting, costumes, editing patterns and pace. All of these together convey a major part of the subject or the story. That is not to say that the sound consisting of dialogues and commentary are rendered irrelevant. It only means that the job has been divided between the picture and the sound so that both have their identity and serve important function in the film. This script is the blueprint of the film. The third stage of writing, better described as rewriting, involves reworking the script at the post-production stage. Since documentary filmmaking is reality cinema, many factors are not as much in control of the directors as in fiction cinema. Sometimes one may find people speaking better than expected, but other times their performance may be very disappointing. It is also possible that some unforeseen factors appear at the time of shoot which may elaborate the point visually more strongly than in words, making the latter redundant. A director is always greedy for powerful visuals which impart not just information but also emotions and experiences to the viewer. If the director is lucky to get that opportunity, he or she would need to rework the script somewhat to make room for communication through visuals and minimize words. Such a film has greater impact and appeal compared to the one which has a constant pairing of commentary from the beginning to the end, more like a radio documentary rather than a film. This third stage of writing takes final form in post-production after the rough cut of the film has been done. The script may also need some addition at this stage in the form of transitions and bridges between different sequences and scenes. A large part of the interviews are scripted, consisting of introduction of the topic, the interviewee, the questions and the closing. This requires a certain degree of research on the subject and the person to be interviewed so that very pertinent questions are asked and no important area of information is left out. The interview writer must find the right kind of researchers to obtain information on the person being interviewed, the background, views, work profile, and the issue that warrants an interview. If the interviewee is from an organization, they would be able to provide most of the required information. If the subject of the interview is controversial, it would help to equally explore the opposite viewpoints in order to ask a counter question to elaborate a point. An interview writer first needs to define the objective and justification of the interview before attempting to do research work on the subject. The script must be structured in a manner that the questions follow a logical connection. The writer must not rely on his or her own knowledge to ignore some answers as too obvious and well known. The viewer's curiosity must be satisfied by asking the right kind of questions. The first couple of questions must come to the point directly. There is nothing more boring and pointless than a meandering dialogue which takes time to come to the point. The script must allow for any subsidiary question that emerge from the answers. The language of the interview should be warm and friendly, crisp and clear, but uncompromising in its objective of extracting information from the interviewee. A good interview script aims at extracting maximum information in the most interesting manner that holds the interest of the viewers. Short talks are delivered by one person directly to the camera by a celebrity or an expert on a given occasion. They are focused on the subject, brief in nature, and have a specific objective to serve. Some specific occasion require featuring one person addressing the audience in a formal or semi-formal manner. These occasions could be statements by politicians, subject experts, medical bulletin of important ailing personalities, weather bulletin, or any other statement required to be delivered for a reason. The rule of writing these short talks are: clarity of purpose. The objective of the address and its provocation must be clear to the audience to be able to get the message in the right perspective. This would lead to better understanding of the message. Verification of facts. Before such a talk is delivered, the facts must be thoroughly verified. A lot of credibility and importance is attached to a short talk delivered directly to the viewers because the message is uncluttered or camouflaged by any other distraction. Simplicity of language. The language of these short talks must be simple and easy to understand by a cross-section of audience, otherwise it would defeat its own purpose. Brevity. A shorter, to the point and focused message communicates better and makes an impact compared to the one which is delivered with embellishments. In the latter, the message gets blurred or can even be misunderstood. Language suitable to the occasion. The choice of words or language at large should be suitable to the occasion or the purpose it is supposed to serve. Let us quickly summarize what we have learned today. We learnt about the nature and characteristics of the television industry today and why it is important for a television writer to know the demands of the industry well to be able to function effectively. We learnt about the role of TV writer and the challenges faced by him or her. We learnt about the qualities of a good television writer and how essential it is for him or her to do research and rewrite to refine the script. We learnt about writing for news, interviews, documentary films and short talks, the most important program genre in the non-fiction category. We learnt that extensive research, simplicity and clarity of language are important features of good television writing. It is important to understand the target audience and write according to their level of understanding. The writer must keep in mind the objective of the program are crucial for a television writer. Rewriting improves the script with every attempt. With this, we come to an end of the episode on writing for television. We hope that you have found it useful. We'll see you again soon with another interesting topic. But till then, goodbye.